Hey there, crypto crew, and welcome to my channel. I'm your host, Samantha Jane, and today I'm going to share a little bit more about my crypto strategy with you, so stay tuned. Thanks again for joining the channel, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and don't forget to like. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about my crypto strategy so that you can get some ideas if you're new starting out or if your strategy hasn't been working for you. First of all, when I was looking at buying the coins and tokens I ended up buying, I mentioned earlier that I did study the market, and I also studied how the exchanges worked, and I also learned how to use multiple exchanges. That takes some time. So when I was looking at things, I noticed that you would see a significant difference sometimes in the price of a coin or token, depending on which exchange you were looking at. So when you go onto CoinMarketCap, don't forget to click on markets if you're looking at a particular token, and take a look at the list and see where the best price is with the highest regular volume. That means that your trade is more likely to go through in a timely manner. Remember, the markets move quickly, and I do feel that many times, especially on a go forward, things are going to change on an upside more than a downside. Because we are watching the market consolidate. One of my tokens that I had bought in the ICO, and I actually showed up when they were giving the 30% bonus, and it actually closed down early at the 20% bonus. It didn't even make it to regular sale because they reached their hard cap so quickly, and that was Electroneum. And I've noticed just since the first week of November that the volume has gone up significantly on Electroneum. So even though you're not seeing that in the price, you start to see the volume first. And again, when you're looking at individual tokens and coins, look at the historical data and the volume on those tokens and coins. Normally you will see a significant increase in the volume before you see a big increase in the price, because again, it's all about supply and demand. So back to the strategy of trying to get your token or coin at the best price by examining the different exchanges and then registering an account on the exchange that you would like to buy that coin at. And this is where it comes in handy to have numerous accounts opened on many of the different exchanges, because sometimes something will come out and you'll want to buy it, and some exchanges it might take you 2 weeks to get registered. And I was able to jump on some very good opportunities because I happened to be registered already on, let's say, the Bittrex, which was one of the exchanges where I was able to purchase Ripple when it was down. So anyways, that's some of the strategies to look at, is to get the best price on the token. Look at the exchange. Typically, but not always, you're going to be looking at buying from the first or second highest volume exchange, and you want to take a look at the historical data on that token or coin and see when the price spikes on it, because you will find that, for example, in the early days, it was mainly Asian countries that were into NEO. A lot of people hadn't heard about NEO in North America. So it would be more of the exchanges that they were on that you would see. Well, it was actually called AntShares. I remember when it was AntShares. That was back when I was studying the market. And that was one of the ones that I really was attracted to, because I was looking at it and I was like, AntShares, that's such a crazy name. And that in itself, people will buy it just because it says AntShares. But again, you have to look at what country that token or coin is being operated out of, where the team is, and that makes a big difference as well. So don't forget that factor. There's so much to know. I mean, really, if you take the time to check where you're putting your money before you put it there, the odds of you having success are much more significant than somebody who just throws a bunch of money into the market onto a couple of tokens or coins. I mean, some of them are very obvious not very obviously projects that are probably not even going to make it out of the starting gate. One of the things I liked about Electroneum when I bought into the ICO was the fact that it was already ready to go. Some of the ICOs that I invested in, they just had a prototype, and you were really just giving them seed money to get things started. But again, the ICOs are typically where you make the most on your investment. Out of the 32 tokens and coins that I own, I went into 10 initial coin offerings. And I'm very happy that I did. So I would recommend, since we're sharing ideas, that if you're not buying into ICOs, that you take a look at the different ones that are available. I do look on Token Desk. You can buy a Token Desk token and you will get a percentage. Usually they'll sign deals with some companies that are ICOing, and you'll get an increase. Like, one of the ICOs I participated in, I got a bonus. I think it was 15% extra because I was with Token Desk. I had bought into their ICO and, invested not a huge amount of money, just a few $100s. But again, if the companies that I've invested in do very well, then it will pay off then, won't it? We'll see. We're still early in the market, like so early, it's unbelievable. One of my strategies is that I pick a price for my coin or token, and then I will start selling it off at that point. So I did say early on, okay, expect 30% to go down, buy and hold until September of 2019, but I do have a price that I will start to sell it off on. So if, let's say, Electroneum hits $1 by January of 2019, then I would sell off 20% of my stake in Electroneum. And the reason why that is that a lot of us who got involved in the ICOs, we have 5 figures, 6 figures, and for even some people 7 figures of tokens and coins. I mean, when NEO was first launched, there were people who had 10,000 NEO. And I mean, that went as high as $166. But if you had gotten involved in the ICO or OmiseGO, I think the ICO price on that was 30 cents. And I don't know what its high was, maybe like 20 something dollars. But again, I don't believe that the majority of people who bought into ICOs, that they kept all their tokens until it reached, $26, because in reality, that will never happen with the organization that you've invested in for success. If you keep all your coins and tokens, if you're one of the original people who supported the endeavor. My idea is that once it reaches a certain point, you have to release those tokens and allow other people into the community, because that is how the community will grow. And we are the ones who came in on the first wave, and we do have a responsibility to help the community grow. So I made that decision early on. Don't try to hold all of your Electroneum. I have too many. Until it's like $5 or $10. I mean, I have other tokens and coins, and that's way more money than what I'll ever need. I would rather release it. And the other thing too that is part of my strategy is that every single token and coin that I own, I've decided that I am going to keep 20%. So for example, if I had gotten in on Ethereum when it was, I think somebody said the original buy on that was like, 10 cents, but let's say it was $1. So you bought Ethereum at $1 and it's gone as high as $1,000. So if, let's say, you sold off 20%, once it hit $100, and then once it hit $150, you sold off another 20%, and so on. And then you had everything sold off by the time it hit $500. Imagine how happy you are that not everything, but you kept 20%. And then Ethereum hit $1,000, and then you're like, okay, well, that's good. Now I'm going to get rid of the rest of them now. I'll keep like 3 just so I can remember that I bought it. So that's kind of my idea with the ICOs that I've participated in, where I have a large number of tokens or coins. And also I was talking about studying the market and taking a look at the ones that are currently in existence on CoinMarketCap. and buying some of those, because again, like I said, I get involved in about 10 ICOs, so that means there were 22 that were on the market that I did buy into, such as Dogecoin, Sia, Bytecoin, Digibyte was early on, so was Populous, and yeah, there was a whole bunch of them. But they all cover different parts of the market. The one part of the market I haven't gone into is the security coins, and I'll let you in on why my strategy was to not get involved with the securities coins and tokens. And that is because in the early days, the government's approving cryptocurrencies for the country is a big part of whether or not your crypto is going to make it. Because again, you know, it's all supply and demand, right? And the supply is limited. And when the demand increases, the more countries where people can freely buy the cryptos, such as in most of the Western countries, I mean, you don't have a problem buying cryptos. The emerging markets, many of them, that's, you know, how they exist now, is they buy cryptos. So it's very important that all of the tokens and coins are, I guess it's called KYC, know your client. And that's a really big part of the financial services industry. And you know they're going to scoop up the cryptocurrencies and put them in that area rather than the currency trade. They're going to put them into the area the same as you would buy Apple or Microsoft or, you know, Anheuser-Busch on the New York Stock Exchange. They would look at the companies the same as that. And in many countries, you're being taxed on your capital gains, which is why it's not really a good idea to be a trader as well. Because, I mean, I can just imagine the nightmare of doing your income tax, especially with the cryptocurrency market. I mean, you make 100% on one and you lose 50% on another. And, you know, it's just not so crazy. And I'm just not up for that kind of math. So anybody who is a trader, I'm probably not going to be that useful to you as far as, you know, giving you advice on daily trades and sharing with you what I'm doing. I'm pretty much, I buy and I hold and I look for the good deals. And then once I jump off, I'm off and putting the money into hard assets, such as real estate or businesses or whatever comes up. That's what my plan is. So, yeah, but I mean, whatever you guys want to do with your cryptos when you're done with them, I don't have a strategy for you. I just have one for me. But while we're here, just wanted to talk about my idea how I'm going to sell it off. And also remember that the users are customers. So if you're a customer, or if you are somebody who buys into a token or coin, and it's something like, for example, LockTrip, which is the answer to Airbnb. And that was an ICO that I had gotten involved in. And the reason why I did is I was like, well, you know, there's going to be a lot of these that come up, but I'm looking for one that has a great operation and that will be the first out of the gates. And I made a good call on this because they were just recently approved for credit card purchases. So basically people can use fiat money to book a place on LockTrip, and then, you know, they don't even have to actually be into the cryptocurrency market. But what they do is they set aside LockTrip tokens so that many can't be purchased while they're in use with the booking. So that will in itself increase the value of the LockTrip tokens, which was actually brilliant. So, you know, that is a service that instead of Airbnb, I'll be taking a look at LockTrip instead. So that's another crypto strategy that I have, is that, you know, invest in things that you would use yourself and then indeed use them. And that's a really big part of it, because that's how you want to make sure that the company still continues to exist, because there is a demand for it and it's still early days. I mean, in LockTrip, I don't even think they did 100 bookings in the early days, but now that they are approved for credit card use and word is getting out, it won't matter that it's on the blockchain. People will just be able to go online and do a booking and use their credit card, which is fantastic. And of course you can use your LockTrip tokens if you have purchased. I wanted to talk a little bit about the market and how it works. A lot of people talk about timing. And as I mentioned on some of my earlier videos and on my description of the channel, I am a psychic medium. I don't hang a shingle or anything like that and do readings for people. But when I do get a message, I do deliver it, and it's 100% on. When somebody asks me something, they put me on the spot sometimes, so I'll answer, and it may not be right, but it's more like things like a couple of years ago, I was watching the Super Bowl with my husband, and I mean, I don't know anything about football, but he loves American football, and he even has like a favorite NFL team and everything. So his team was not playing. It was the Patriots that were playing. And what happened is he left the room. It was in the final quarter, the fourth quarter. And I said, "Where are you going?" He says, "Well, I'm going to make dinner." I said, "Well, aren't you going to watch the rest of the game?" He goes, "Oh, no, they're done. There's no way they can come back." And I said, "You know what?" I said, "The Patriots are going to win because this doesn't feel right." And then sure enough, they came back. Now, I didn't know that until he was leaving the room. And that's why I was like, "Why are you leaving?" And then when he said that, that's when it occurred to me that that was going to happen. And then he argued with me about it and said how, that would be a pretty impossible feat at this point. They were so far behind and the time was short, etc. And then it ended up happening and it was amazing. And that's kind of how my gift works. So I see how it's working with cryptocurrencies. I think that even though I'm not able to be specific about which cryptocurrencies are going to work out for the long term, I think I'm able to tell what order they're going to take off in. And it's kind of the same as when I was looking at things that would happen in the world. It would be like, oh, well, there's going to be like a volcano is going to erupt there first, and then the bank is going to go down, and then it's going to cause some economic upheaval and so on. So there's different time markers that I see. And I had said earlier on that I thought that when the market was going to start to go, before that happened in a big way, we would see Ripple go and then Stellar Lumens shortly thereafter. So I kind of saw Ripple and Stellar Lumens going along ahead of everybody, like there being more activity, and then the market would go. And then later on, like you'd see the coins and tokens that you probably are holding some of, such as Digibyte. That's a popular one. I did buy that right at the beginning as well. And I'm not saying that my track record is 100%. But again, I went into it knowing that probably about 30% of what I was buying into wasn't going to work out. But the ones that do very well, like CyberMiles, for example, I feel that CyberMiles is the early Ethereum, and I managed to get in on the ICO. And I'm very excited about that. And of course, the number of CyberMiles that I have is far more than I could ever buy of Ethereum at this point. So that's exciting for me just to see, a couple of the things that I bought doing very well right now and things working out for them. So as soon as the market hits its parabolic, and I was watching Cliff High, he's not sure if it's going to go like, if you look at something like Locktrip, for example, you'll see that it generally just has been kind of plodding along, slowly going up the last little bit. I think it's more than doubled in price, maybe tripled. And then there was a little bit of a correction, of course. But again, I'm not a trader, so I just, buy and hold this stuff, because I can guarantee you if you were a trader, you would have sold it off at $1 and you wouldn't have seen it at $2 and something. So, it's all part of my strategy. But about the tide coming in, Cliff was thinking that, he wasn't sure if it was going to be like a really quick wave or if it was going to be sort of a general increase. And I believe, and my feeling is that it's going to be really quick. So it's kind of like you're going to see it go, and then before you know it, the market will be 250 billion, and then it'll be over 300, and you will hardly have had time to get your position in place. So that's why I just made sure that all my positions were in place in October. I was like, yeah, it's going to go anytime now, because I kind of get an idea how things feel. And you know what? If it doesn't, that's okay too, because I have no intentions of getting out of this market anytime soon, because I see the future for it and it's going to be fantastic. But you have to remember and look at it like the tide coming in, right? The amount of water that comes in, how high the tide goes before it goes out again, it depends on the moon, right? And if you don't know where you're at in the cycle, then how are you going to know how big the tide is? You know it's going to come in and you know it's going to hit a certain point, but you don't know how far past. And that has a lot to do with psychic mediums not really knowing timing as much. And I know that Michelle White Dove has said that it's because of free choice. And I do agree with that. It does get more difficult for me to tell what someone's future is going to be long term just because of the free choice thing. So you'd have to know them really well to know kind of what they would choose. But a big part of it too is that there is no time on the other side. So it's mainly it's pictures, it's feelings. It's hard to explain. I mean, it's like explaining color to a blind person when you try to explain how your gift works. And the other thing too is I think that some people have some ideas that are maybe not right from watching TV and reading books. They kind of get an idea that, you know, if somebody's a really psychic, that they can just, you know, pull a rabbit out of a hat, like they can answer all of your questions. And you know what? And sometimes that's what happens. You know, I've had people say to me, wow, you know, you're bringing up stuff that I was just talking about with somebody a few minutes before I got here. And I did that to one man twice. So he just came in to check out my pipes. He was a plumber. So I just stopped talking to him because I was like, oh no, you know, like that's, if I start talking again about something he was just talking about, he's going to know that it's not a coincidence. So I just stopped talking. So I don't really know how it all works for me. But hey, maybe we can figure some stuff out on the live streams. I'm already really excited about Ripple and Stellar Lumens because that just came to me when I was doing my videotaping for the channel. I hadn't really thought about it. I only own Ripple. I don't own any Stellar Lumens. I should have bought some, but I was told that it doesn't matter, that so much of what I have is going up that, you know, just wait, just do what you're told. And I'm like, okay, when I do what I'm told or instructed to, things always work out okay. You just, you know, settle in it and have that peace that you're getting the right direction, and I'm just happy to help everybody out. So keep in mind that the crypto markets are like the tide coming in, and the tide raises all boats except for the ones that have the big holes in them. And that's why you have to use your common sense, and don't be lazy either. It's not just about common sense. I mean, some people are just lazy. Oh yeah, I'm just going to throw my money. Yeah. You work hard for that money, or somebody did. So take the time, do it right, and you'll have no regrets. Yeah. So I think that I've covered everything so far. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it in the comments below. It's really important to me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. And if you like the video, then don't forget to press the like button. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one.